Right now, we're witnessing the beginning of the end of the internet. The UK, Australia, the European Union, and the USA have all coordinated a global effort to control the internet. With Spotify ID verifications, YouTube verifications, adult site verifications, Reddit verifications, and even VPNs potentially being illegal now. It seems like anything deemed unsafe by the government is now locked behind an age check. In the UK, websites like Reddit and X now legally have to ask for a picture of your face or a copy of your ID. And the US and the European Union are now set to pass similar laws, as we witness in front of our eyes a very quick, coordinated attack on the internet. But to understand why this is really happening now, who is coordinating this, and why they're really doing this in the first place, we need to look at what's been secretly happening in the UK, as this is where it all started. Now, while ostensibly in place to protect the kids, the UK has introduced the Online Safety Bill, going into action at the end of July 2025. The government claims that this is just for kids to not watch adult content, but this act has been making headlines for other reasons instead.
No, you see, you gotta upload your driver's license to Spotify or else we won't be able to protect the kids.
First, there's the insanely wide net the UK government has thrown over the entire internet. You've got the obvious stuff blocked now like adult content sites, but it's extended way past that. Spotify users have been enraged after Spotify has confirmed the checks would extend to explicit music on the platform. And what's more is that the platform will also ban users that fail the checks or when Spotify thinks its users are underage. Discord is already asking for ID now to see channels that the server owner deemed as 18 plus regardless of the content. YouTube is planning on asking for ID beginning in August. First, an AI will look at the content that you watch and then try to decide whether you're a kid or not. Watch too many Minecraft videos? You better watch out. At this point though, it should be pretty obvious that the measures are full of problems. The least being how useless it is for actually protecting children in the first place. Everyone under the age of 40 already knows how to get past any of this stuff. As long as at least one country somewhere in the world doesn't have these measures, using a VPN will get you past the age check. In fact, we've already seen this in action. The download numbers on various app stores have been going crazy. Proton VPN, just one of the many available options, saw a 1,800% increase in downloads when the act came into effect. And it isn't the only option either. Lots of people have found success circumventing the checks with random pictures or even screenshots from video games. So it's hard to see how the checks will ever be able to deal with AI generated faces or really any picture or 3D model of a face. It means that anyone who actually wants to get past the blocks, including children, easily can. The UK government knows this and already knew this before they passed the act. In fact, part of the act bars websites from suggesting a VPN as a way around it. So who are the only people that don't know about VPNs, that won't know how to install and use them? Well, older people who have been left behind by technology already. They're the ones who will blindly give away their ID and pictures of their face. Most will assume it's government guaranteed and safe, but of course it really isn't. Instead, the law changes open the door to a set of corporate contractors. Unknown until now, internet users are expected to share the most confidential information with these companies just to use the internet. So who are these companies? Well, let's take a look at Persona, the company that Reddit and OpenAI have chosen to conduct their checks. Taken directly from their privacy policy, Persona securely stores all photos of identity documents that you upload, photos of your face that you upload, and data from scans of facial geometry. Persona also fails to tell people when verifying that third-party vendors can also have access to all of this, meaning they give it to a ton of other companies. What's more, those claims about immediately destroying the data are really nonsense. The privacy policy indicates that they don't even get rid of it for a whole 3 years. So if they make you verify your age again, the timer resets. And that 3 years is only if the government doesn't explicitly tell them to keep it, in which case they will. So just by looking at one of these companies tells you that they can keep it for pretty much however long they want. Then there's the fact that it doesn't really matter what these companies say anyway. They routinely underinvest in cybersecurity, which leads to massive data breaches all of the time. Then millions of people's data gets sold to the highest bidder. Literally days before this act even came into effect, the women's dating app T also had a massive data breach. The app was designed for women to gossip about men in a safe space, enforced through mandatory facial verification for users. T said in their privacy policy that they deleted all the verification images immediately. However, when the breach happened, tens of thousands of these images were stolen and leaked online, and it's just been one of the many data breaches this year. You clearly can't trust these corporate contractors, especially these small shady companies which have suddenly been given a guaranteed middleman support by this new law. So because the government says so, people using the internet are now forced to give their ID to a selection of various companies who will share it with whomever they like and delete it when they feel like, if at all. In many people's opinions, it's the government itself that should be under scrutiny. They're the ones who should be treated like criminals, mainly because so many of them are actually criminals. There's been far too many scandals to count recently with Parliament. You've got the fraudulent PPE contracts, the expenses scandal, the breakdown of the SNP in Scotland for financial crime, just to name a few. And so if anyone should be getting monitored and surveilled, it's the people who wrote this law in the first place.
Right? Rules for you, not for me. Rules that make up all this crazy rules for you to keep you in line, to keep you in check, but not for them. Because the ones that should be surveilled the way they're trying to surveil us are they themselves. Here they are, always for the kids. You gotta protect the kids, so you need a digital ID. You know, we gotta know what you're doing on the internet. Meanwhile, here they are trafficking children, right? Doing all kinds of crazy stuff. We have known pedophiles and positions of power walking around free. But we are the problem. Somehow, we are to be blamed for everything that is wrong in the world, right? But the ones that are actually responsible for all of this stuff, nothing is happening to them. They're free to do whatever they want to do. See, they make all these rules so you stop talking about them. That's what they are. That's what they're doing. They don't want you talking about them coming on the internet and saying, oh, this guy is a pedophile. This guy is a weirdo. This guy's been doing all kinds of weird stuff, right? So if they can regulate the internet and breach your privacy, whereby, link everything to your digital identity, they can just shut you down and, stop you from coming on the internet. Unless you're willing to play ball. By play ball, I mean you have to look the other way. You see? This is what we're dealing with right here. Believe you me, they're not worried about children. That is the last thing on their minds. The main thing on their mind is you, the so-called conspiracy theorist, right? Those that are out there scrutinizing every step they take. Because now they can't just lie in peace, right? It used to be a time where they can just come on and say whatever the hell they want to say, and nobody will be out there scrutinizing them, right? Now, with the rise of so-called conspiracy theorists, those that are in the know, a lot of us out there that have understood, what is happening behind the scenes, and we call them out on it. This is the problem they're having. The prophets, the teachers, those that are truly awake to the bull crap. This is the problem they're having. Because now nothing gets past us. We always keeping a close watch on whatever move they make, and then we report on those moves. See, this is what they're trying. That is why the main reason they're trying to regulate the internet. They need to know who you are, right? Remember the 144,000. They're trying to keep track of these guys. They know there are people, especially in these times, that will go contrary to whatever it is that is being pushed out there. And they will seek to enlighten those that are just like them. And they don't want this. But their arms is too short to box with God. Like the old saying go, right? This is a Pandora's box, the internet. The cat is out the bag. All these things you're doing, you're fighting a losing game. The damage is done already. Our eyes are open now. We know what you're doing. You can play whatever tricks you're trying to play. You can try to circumvent the internet and try to, bend our knee to conform to your agendas and every whim that you're pushing out there. But guess what? We're not going to do that. Through the power and spirit of the Most High God, we see you and see you clear. And we will not conform to all your evil ways. Do what you may. Do whatever it is you think you're doing. Come on with it. Before we go any further, all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rachah HaKodash. Double honors to apostles and elders of Great Millstone who taught us this truth and continue to teach us this truth. Peace, salutation, shalom, shalom, shalom to all you brothers and sisters out there that are of the household of faith, beginning with 144,000 mighty men of the house of Israel, down to the men, women, and children that are allotted to be delivered in these latter days, who are all of the elect, and to the brothers that are pushing this gospel in all sincerity and in all honesty. To you all, I say shalom, right? Let's play a little bit more of this.
So we've just shown what almost everyone already knew about this. That this part of the Online Safety Act is useless because of VPNs. It's malicious because of the potential for data breaches, and hypocritical because of who it targets. And they already knew this before they passed it. It's just too obvious. So what's the real reason behind all of this? Well, a key aim of the Online Safety Act seems to be to control what adults view on the internet, based on their understandable hesitation to give away their picture and ID. You can draw this conclusion from what they've been using it to block. Lots of subreddits surrounding adult content were blocked by the act, of course, but lots of other ones were also caught in the crossfire. The Stop Smoking and Stop Drinking subreddits have been reported as being blocked as some users. And you'd think the UK government would want kids to have access to those resources, especially considering they let the vape companies get them all addicted years ago. Other potentially sensitive content is now being gated off. People have reported that X is blocking footage from immigration protests in the UK. A speech from a member of parliament was also blocked. It was about the horrific grooming gang scandal that's been rocking the UK recently. This is a clear example of harm being done to minors, yet the government chose to block people from discussing it. It's also been reported.
You see that? So all the cock and bull crap about protecting the children, oh, and all of a sudden they care about children, right? Meanwhile, here they are blocking things that are really hurting children, right? We have child protective services out there committing crimes on kids. We have traffickers, well-known people in positions of power that are pedophiles. I mean, this is not any big secret. It is all out there, but nothing is being done to them, right? They are still running around. As a matter of fact, they're made heroes. So it's never about children. They could care less about children, but they use it as a guise, to actually push their true agenda. We'll come back to this, but real quick. This is the book of Psalms, the 94th chapter, and the 20th verse. It says, "Shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee, which frameth mischief by a law?" You see that? So these guys, they are known as the throne of iniquity. In the scriptures, iniquity is sin upon sin. So this is the same guys that are all about hurting children, right? Doing all kinds of vile acts on children. But all of a sudden now, they are the philanthropists. They're the good guys caring for children, right? Just like the same ones that are all for population reduction. Now all of a sudden they're trying to save the world through some injection. See how it all works? So that's what the scripture is saying. These guys that stack up sin upon sin, are they not the ones that are trying to frame mischief by a law, right? So this law they're putting out, they disguise it as something good, but it's mischievous in nature. If you don't pay attention, you actually think, like the old saying, the road to hell is paved with good intentions, right? You don't know they're leading you down to hell, but the way they disguise these agendas of theirs, these laws that they're putting out there, if you don't have your wits about you, you get taken by that. The way they present it to you, it is enticing. You start to think that, oh man, this is not, it's actually a good thing. Who wouldn't want to protect children, so to speak? But it's never about that. These are hypocrites. They don't practice what they preach, right? So let's read that again. "Shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee, which frameth mischief by a law?" It says they gather themselves together against the soul of the righteous. You see? So the whole thing they're doing is to come up against the soul of the righteous, those that are trying to do good, those that are trying to shine light on the evil, the wickedness that is done on the world, right? So they're coming up against you to do what? And condemn the innocent blood. So all this whole bull crap about kids and saving kids and children and all of that, it is to come up against the innocent. They use this digital ID, they use this social credit score system so they can come up against the righteous, because they know the righteous, the ways of the righteous is clean contrary to the way they do things, right? We cannot stand the evil that they do. That's why we are quick to expose them for that. And guess what? That puts a target on your back. So by them trying to regulate the internet and trying to do away with your privacy, this is how they condemn you and come up against you. He goes on to say, but the Lord is my defense. So we're not worried about these guys. That's what I said earlier. Let them bring it. Do what they got to do. You know, we already can see, we already can see your bullshit. What else are you going to do? It says, and my power is the rock of my refuge, right? And he shall bring upon them their own iniquity, and shall cut them off in their own wickedness. Yea, the Lord Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, our God, shall cut them off. So eventually they can pull whatever crap they're trying to pull, whatever tricks they're trying to pull. That's why in the book of Ephesians, the 6th chapter, it tells you to put on the whole armor of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. Because why? Because you'll be able to withstand against the wiles of the devil, all their tricks. You'll be able to see it for what it is. See it for what it is. But there's still people out there that will believe in all this crap and actually think that it's actually a good thing. Which brings us here in the book of Proverbs, the 14th chapter and the 15th verse. It says, the simple believeth every word, but the prudent man looketh well to his going, right? So the simple individuals out there will look at all these agendas and all this strategic move, oppressive strategic moves being done by the wicked elites, and think, this is actually good. There's nothing wrong with that. Well, you're being simple, and you believe every word that they put out there, telling you, we're doing this for the kids. Meanwhile, they're the ones oppressing kids. Because if they actually care about kids, every politician will be locked up right now. Every wicked elite will be locked up right now. If they actually care about kids, there will be no millionaire, billionaire walking around. They'll all be locked up. They'll all be hanging somewhere. If they actually cared about kids, they'll all be dead. But they don't care about kids. So if you believe them, guess what? You're being played. It says, but the prudent man looketh well to his going. So that them that are prudent, they consider things. They don't just believe everything that is being pushed out there. They scrutinize it. They look at it for what it is. Let's go back to this.
Also been reported that posts about Gaza and Ukraine have been blocked as well. The danger lies in this escalating out of control. You give the government an inch and they'll take a mile, as we saw during COVID. And this law sets the precedent of handing over the power of censorship to algorithms. Algorithms and AI built and designed to follow broad guidelines dictated by the people in power. This is so dystopian, and yet nobody realizes the true extent of how bad the situation really is, as it matches up with other UK laws and measures designed to restrict people's freedoms. The UK and Apple have been in a massive battle for years over privacy. The UK is demanding that Apple let them have a backdoor into people's messages and private information. This backdoor doesn't even exist, and yet the UK is insisting that Apple break their promises and have it installed. Meanwhile, they've done the same for WhatsApp's end-to-end encryption.
Here it is, total control. They're trying to snoop around everything you're doing. Meanwhile, they're the ones, we need to keep tabs on them. Time and time again, it's come out that what they are doing behind closed doors is nothing but evil, rotten to the core, every single one of them. We should be the ones demanding that we read their text messages, see whatever it is going on in their computers. Anthony Weiner is being known that his laptop, Biden's kid, Hunter Biden, his own laptop is nothing to write home about, you see? And he's still out there walking around free. But they care about children, right? They care about children. These guys are still out there walking around, doing whatever it is that they do. Fucking hypocrites, man.
as well, despite the fact that nobody can read those messages, not even WhatsApp, allegedly. Now, lots of tech companies may follow suit in pushing the UK on this one. At least you'd hope so. As I mean, when you've got Meta of all companies fighting for data protection against your own government, you know you're cooked. The measures are likely to play right into the hands of populists like Nigel Farage, and it could very likely win in the next election, as it's such a terrible, awful look for Labour and Starmer to force this through despite the immense backlash. All Labour have done is dig the hole further and further, with how deeply the public no longer trust the government of England anymore. It's so bad that members of parliament now label those who don't agree with this bill as siding with predators by opposing the Online Safety Act, calling people Jimmy Savile supporters.
Verifying your age keeps a child safe, keeps children safe in our country. And I say to people like Nigel Farage, who want to turn the clock back and wants to just overturn these regulations, every time he does this and says it, he makes children more exposed, more susceptible to dangerous content.
It's a really...
So it's not those that go to all these freak off parties, this pleasure islands that they got out there. They're not the ones harming children. It's just somebody out there speaking things. You see, you are the one that is a problem, not those guys that take the Lolita Express to these freak off places, these pleasure islands, and harm children and molest children and abuse children. No, they're not the ones to be worried about. It is some guys speaking out. So your freedom of speech and your privacy, you might as well kiss it goodbye right now, because that's what they're after. They don't want you out there just speaking on what they're doing. You see, that's the main thing. They don't want you talking about what they are doing. Are you crazy? We run things, right? Why would you be? Yeah, let us molest children in peace. Shut the hell up and leave us alone. Let's do whatever evil that we want to do without you, scrutinizing us every step we take. Freaks, man.
Disturbing, stupid attempt to silence criticism which everyone can see through. And the worst part is that this isn't just the license-happy UK nanny state. This is a coordinated, choreographed effort by major Western governments to limit internet freedom. They've wanted this for years, and it's finally coming to fruition. Just take a look at some of the other measures they're drafting across the democratic world. In the European Union, under Denmark's 2025 presidency, they've revived the chat control legislation, which aims to mandate client-side scanning of all private messages, even on encrypted platforms like WhatsApp and Signal, all to ostensibly detect CSAM. But what this is really doing is effectively ending end-to-end encryption and opening the door to mass surveillance and systemic security vulnerabilities, which is all part of their wider Protect EU initiative, which seeks to enable lawful decryption of private communications by 2030. Then we have Australia, arguably the most aggressive Western country when it comes to taking away internet freedom, as their e-safety commissioner has sweeping powers to now demand content takedowns within 24 hours, including posts on private messaging apps, and non-compliance of this can lead to millions in fines, as Australia has criminalized end-to-end encryption resistance. Under the Toller Act, the government can legally force tech companies to build backdoors into encrypted apps like WhatsApp and Signal, and gag.
So you see where all this is headed, right? You see where this is headed, to take away whatever freedom you thought you had, right? Take it all away. And then it is whatever they say goes. There will be no you to, pick apart all the agendas and try to expose them for what they're doing. There will be no need for that. Now, if they don't watch you, if they don't want you to watch something, they will ban you from watching that thing. Even in a private message, you won't be able to see it. I mean, think about that.
Orders prevent them from telling the public, and they too are also pushing for facial recognition technology to enforce age verification, also that they can ensure who uses social media and who doesn't, even going as far as to apparently ban kids from social media. In the US, we have the Kids Online Safety Act, which gives the government and state attorneys general power to control online content that could be deemed harmful to minors. But like all of these governments, the language is fake. It's clearly just a front to control and regulate more of the internet. And the US is even trying to push through the Screen Act, requiring comprehensive age verification for all users on the internet, potentially ending anonymous browsing in the US as a whole. It's clear governments around the world are suddenly in unison, quietly and rapidly coordinating to take unprecedented control of the internet under the guise of just protecting the children. It's like the Simpsons meme of saving the children. Ireland is now proposing a law that will allow the government to scan your private messages directly on your phone before you even send them. Not by breaking encryption, but by implementing client-side scanning, which means the government could get access to your messages before they're encrypted straight from your device. And the UK is already a step ahead on that. In the Online Safety Act, they give Ofcom the power to mandate the same kind of invasive surveillance, scanning your messages before they even leave your phone. Something straight out of Minority Report. And this isn't hypothetical, this is now reality. We are currently witnessing a horrifying force to control the internet, and this should alarm everyone watching this video right now, as the internet as you know it is being taken away from you in a coordinated global government effort, and nobody voted for any of this. But if you really want to understand why they're doing this, you can have a look at this video where we predicted 2 years ago where the governments in the West would take away our freedoms online. In the video, we'll lay out exactly what you can do about all of this, so check out this video right here about 1984 now.
And there you have it. So if you didn't understand the whole digital identity, social credit score system, maybe this would give you an inkling of what that entails, right? Because now you have this bastards, what they are, freaky bastards, trying to push this weird laws on us that we have to abide by. Meanwhile, none of them are abiding by these laws. It's not for them, right? So now everything you do will be directly linked to your digital identity. They need that digital identity. That's why they're pushing for everything to be digital. And then it will be a cashless society. So now anything you do will link back to your social credit score system. If it is low, you won't be able to use your digital money. Now it all makes sense, right? You won't be able to use your digital money because they'll be there telling you that, oh, you fucked up on the internet. You said something you shouldn't have, or you watched something you shouldn't have watched. So now you're not able to eat for the next 1 week for that. You see? Very oppressive. And you need to understand what it is that is going on. This is Isaiah, the 10th chapter and the first verse. It says, woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and write grievousness which they have prescribed. This is an unrighteous decrees. You see, the digital identity, social credit score system, because it's not going to be used for good. Never is it going to be used for good. It's going to be used to oppress, to make sure you go with anything that they're pushing, no matter how vile you find this agenda to be. They're trying to make it to a point where you will have no choice but to abide by it. This is where the mark of the beast comes into play. Just like in 2020, how they try to muscle people to take the jabby jabs, right? All because they said it was safe, and they said it was, all their promises that they made that they couldn't keep. You see, now they're making all these other promises. Oh, we're trying to protect children. It's for the children. Well, I said, fuck them kids, man. Like the movie, fuck them kids, right? But this is where we are. I mean, everybody loves children. They don't want to see any child get harmed, right? But not when they're using that as a ploy to mess with our rights. You see, to mess with our rights. Let's end it off here in Psalms, the 64th chapter and the first verse. The subheading said, prayer for deliverance from secret enemies. That's what they are. They're in secret, planning all this, making all these plans so that they can unleash all these plans on you and oppress you. Why? Because they're your enemies. And that's how you're supposed to look at them. It says to the chief musician, a psalm of David, hear my voice O Most High. In my prayer, preserve my life from the fear of the enemy. They're after your life. It says, hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity. Remember, we read earlier in Psalms the 94th chapter, the throne of iniquity. So these are the same guys the scripture is speaking about, the same MFers. It says, hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrections of the workers of iniquity, who whet their tongue like a sword and bend their bows to shoot their arrows, even bitter words. So the scripture is letting you know that they fashion their words, which comes at a form of laws, comes at the forms of legislations and executive orders, whatever agenda they're pushing out there. The way they unleash it at people, it is in form of a war. They're trying to use that to unalive you, really. They're not right out coming at you with swords and guns and drones and all of that. That will come later, right? But their words are playing the role as if they're pointing a gun to your head. That's what the scriptures is saying. Their words, meaning their laws that they put in place, right? Their policies is just that destructive. Like when somebody is trying to unalive you with a gun or with swords or whatever weapons of mass destruction that is out there. You see, it says that they may shoot in secret at the perfect. So this is really who they're after. Those that are perfect, like we read earlier, those that are righteous. That's who they're really after, because they are not perfect. If anything, those laws should be directed at them. It says, suddenly do they shoot at him and fear not. It says they encourage themselves in an evil matter. Right? The UK is doing this. It looks like all throughout the world, they're all in the same cahoots with this agenda. They're all going forward with this agenda. That's how they encourage themselves in an evil matter. They're all going along with this agenda. It says they commune of laying snares privily. They say, who shall see them? Well, the Most High sees you. It says they search out iniquities. They accomplish a diligent search, both the inward thought of every one of them, and the heart is deep. So they think about these plans. That's why they use children as a ploy to really push the agenda, because they know that everybody, once it's about protecting children, then you put your guard down, right? Because people care about children, because a lot of people have children, so they care about that. So this is how they do. So they understand that psychological process. That's why the scripture says they accomplish a diligent search. They do their due diligence to understand how people react to things before they push the agenda. You see? It says, but the Most High shall shoot at them with an arrow, suddenly shall they be wounded. It says, so they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves, and all that see them shall flee away. Going into the so-called whistleblowers, people that used to be part of their circle, that go rogue and start to expose them for what they're doing. So that's how their own tongue fall upon themselves. Also, out of their pride, they expose themselves also. They have predictive programming, they have revelation method, right? Which is a ritual that they perform to let you know what they're trying to do before they do it. They put it in the form of a movie and trying to fictionalize it, right? It says, all men shall fear and shall declare the work of the Most High, but they shall wisely consider of his doings. The righteous shall be glad in the Lord, Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, and shall trust in him, and all the upright in heart shall glory. Right? And this is where we're trying to be part of this upright in heart. And that's why they're coming up against the perfect, the righteous, the upright in heart. And just a little something to kind of let you know what is going on out there. And with that, all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakha HaKodash. Double honors to apostles and elders of Great Millstone. See you next time, Lord willing. Shalom. Shalom.